Every now and then, professional athletes face so much pressure that they try to cut a few corners at the cost of another player. Then again, the universe isn't always down with that. That's why we've decided to put together a breakdown of 20 examples of instant karma in sports. Number 20. Brett Garner anger. Garner of the New York Yankees made a big hit, but the success was short-lived when an outfielder made an even more impressive catch, sending him straight back to the dugout. Garner decided to take his frustrations out on his helmet and the wall. Of course, when he chucked his helmet at the wall, it bounced back and cut his lip. Cameras were definitely ready to catch this one. Number 19. Angry soccer coach. Like any angry soccer coach, this one tried to kick the soccer ball out of frustration. But the results weren't anything like he expected. Luckily, cameras were stationed just outside the door to catch the whole thing. He goes to kick the soccer balls, and they wind up taking him down to the ground. Number 18. Cricket injury. After winning a major cricket match, world-famous cricket player Hassan injured himself while celebrating. His trademark celebration is typically throwing up his arms. But this time, just as he flexed, something went wrong. You can see him immediately react to some kind of muscle pain, and while we sympathize, it's absolutely hilarious. Number 17. James Harden. In a game against the Pelicans, world-famous basketball player James Harden had a pretty embarrassing moment. Just after missing a shot, Harden got so frustrated he tried to slam the ball into the ground. But of course, as basketballs tend to do, the ball bounced back up and ended up smacking him right in the face for the entire crowd to see. What's even more hilarious are the collective O's from the commentators, along with his opponent's confused reaction. Number 16. Formula lame. During a major Formula 1 race, one driver let his competitive spirit get to his head. Just before the finish line, this Formula 1 racer was in the lead. That's until he decided to come to a crawling roll to show off. Out of nowhere, a competitor races around the corner and winds up beating him across the finish line. The commentators are definitely laughing at that one. The racer himself probably won't ever live that down. Number 15. UFC fighter. It's tradition in the professional fighting world for two opponents to square off at a pre-match press conference. These events come with a lot of trash talk and chest puffing. But this tattooed fighter takes it to a whole other level, and the results are pretty embarrassing to say the least. Just the very next night, his smiley opponent knocks him out in the first round. The loss was pretty devastating, but it's clear who really won the fight. Karma. Number 14. Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. is a well-known football player for the New York Giants. But after an upsetting game, he decided to throw a tantrum. As he starts to throw blind punches around, he winds up catching his helmet on the corner of a practice net. The entire thing comes down on his head, ironically. Coaches had to step in and tell him to knock it off before he hurts himself too bad to play. Who would have thought that the sidelines are just as dangerous as the field? Number 13. Showboating fighter. During the middle of a major fight, the red glove fighter decides he'll put on a little show. But instead of coming off as confident, he ends up just putting his guard down. His opponent doesn't let the moment pass. He goes in for a major kick to the head, and the results are pretty insane. He immediately goes down cold, and the opponent rushes over to punch him. The ref quickly drives him off. Who knows what his coach thought of his dancing? One thing is for sure, the red glove fighter won't be living this one down anytime soon. Number 12. Indoor soccer. If you don't know the world of indoor soccer, then you probably don't know how vicious it can be. During an intense match between two teams, one opponent tripped up the other with a big sweeping kick. The move is clearly illegal, but just like anyone else who makes this list, the player paid for it. The tripped player ends up flipping over and accidentally kicks the tripper in the head. He immediately suffered a concussion and hit the floor face first. Just goes to show that dirty tricks don't always work. Number 11. Missed punch. With his opponent up against the ropes, this boxer was clearly just taking advantage. But then, just as he's going in for a big uppercut, he winds up hitting himself in the head. The blow is clearly pretty harsh and definitely left him dazed. He went on to lose the fight, and the clip of him punching himself in the face definitely left a dent in his career and a bruise on his ego. Number 10. Formula One cars. Two Formula One cars locked neck and neck for the end of the race wind up in a pretty funny situation. The car just behind guns it to hit the back of the leading car. The lead car spins out, leaving the behind car nowhere to drive but right up onto the car's hood. The racer flips onto his side and is left sitting there. The situation is pretty hilarious. As you probably guessed, neither racer ended up winning. Number 9. Patrick Beverley trash talk. In the world of basketball, there's plenty of trash talk to go around. Of course, it all depends who you're talking to. Michael Jordan was a notorious trash talker, for instance, and his opponents knew they just had to take it. In one basketball game, though, Patrick Beverley started telling Howard that he was all talk. Just as Beverley is going after the ball, Howard shows up like a brick wall and knocks him to the ground. The satisfaction is pretty sweet. Number 8. Golf. Just as this golfer was about to score, he throws his club in celebration, but messes up his chances of winning. The ball is still rolling towards the hole when he flips his club. The club winds up hitting the ball and sends it spinning in another direction. Of course, the golfer tried to save it by diving for the club. And who says that golfers aren't athletes? Number 7. Poker. An early celebration proved fatal during one of the biggest World Series poker matches. One of the poker players got up to celebrate his hand as he thought he had the hand in the bag and was going to walk away with some serious coin. But the hand isn't over, and when another card comes down, he realizes his mistake. One of the other players has to point out that he actually lost the hand. It's embarrassing to say the least. Number 6. Soccer player. During an intense soccer match, one player goes for a ball but ends up being tangled up and falls over. Just as he falls, he decides to reach up and kick his opponent right in the groin. The move was obviously on purpose, and it sent fans into an angry frenzy. The player was immediately caught and ejected from the game. Number 5. Confident goalie. This goalkeeper thought it was all over after making a fairly impressive save on a penalty shot. But as he goes off to the side to celebrate, the ball comes back down and lands in the goal. There's no doubt this was a tough locker room talk with the team later. Number 4. UFC fighter. One UFC fighter was confident enough to hop up and down as if she had won the fight. But when the referee raises her opponent's arm, it's insanely awkward for her and the audience. You can always tell who really won by how they act at the end of a fight. Number 3. Dan Carpenter. This Detroit Lions football player was pretty angry towards the end of an agonizing game, in which it was clear they were going to lose. But instead of trying to be sportsmanlike, he slams his helmet into the ground. That's when the universe decides to teach him a lesson. The helmet bounces up and hits him right in the face. Number 2. Kart racer. This kart racer began to celebrate a little too early as he neared the finish line. He throws his arms up in the air, but winds up losing control of the vehicle. The kart almost seems to race away from him. He spins out and slams into the wall and has the nerve to climb out and look like he's confused. Number 1. Soccer punt. Everyone knows you can only use your feet in soccer. This pro player clearly never learned the rule. As his opponent nears him, he takes the opportunity to hit him right in the gut. The move got him ejected from the game, and rightfully so. It's just lucky that his opponent called attention to the dirty move. Fans and cameras alike also happened to catch the entire thing. Have you encountered a karmic moment while playing sports? Let us know your story in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the new content. This has been 20 examples of instant karma in sports. Have a good one.